It's Monday, and you know what that means. Jersey First TV proudly brings to you the latest edition of Real Talk, and certainly I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top 50 Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine, as well as the United States Latino Affairs Initiative. Obviously, we all know the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and without a doubt, folks, the traffic tells you every single week the people's choice and the people's voice, and yes, the most handsome face that runs the place. It is me, Fernando Uribe. Happy Monday, everyone, and I certainly hope you had a wonderful weekend. I wish this rain would just stop following us here every single weekend. I'd like to be able to go out on a Saturday night and not feel rained in, but obviously I want to thank you all for tuning in from wherever and however you may be doing so right now on Facebook Live via StreamYard, also on the Jersey First YouTube page, and of course, all of our social media platforms. And speaking of which, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, to like Real Talk with Fernando Uribe and Jersey First on Facebook, as well as follow us on both Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe on the Jersey First YouTube page, and whether you get your podcast on Spotify or SoundCloud, download Jersey First and all our amazing content and take it with you wherever and whenever you're traveling during the fall season, whether you're going to visit that annoying in-law, maybe visiting your boyfriend or girlfriend, going to the gym, grocery shopping, returning overdue library books, whatever it is you're doing, folks. I'm sure you have your smartphone with you or your tablet, your PC, your Mac, whatever it is. Guess what? Download Jersey First and take all of our wonderful content with you. And I cannot say enough how proud I am to be on the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is always Jersey First TV. Amazing content, always available every single week. Of course, brand new episodes of The Nader Narrative are available every Thursday, hosted by the incredible Elizabeth Nader, and brand new episodes of Bridging the Gap by AJ Malillo and Steve Rumbolo also premiere on Thursdays via jerseyfirst.org/TV. And don't forget, on Monday nights, whether it's 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., again, check your local listings. Brand new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe air every Monday night, folks. There's no shortage of great content, great conversations, and some stimulated, thinking as well, courtesy of Jersey First TV. Folks, as you can see there, obviously I'm rocking that pink still since October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'll have a lot to say about it later on in the broadcast. You don't want to miss out on that. Obviously, a reminder about my annual breast cancer event coming to Hudson County later on next week. I'll tell you more about it, folks. But whenever you can, rock that pink, folks, in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as I'm always dedicated to being volunteering and committed to the American Cancer Society and certainly making strides against breast cancer. Folks, and also as a reminder, later on in the show, I'll have some, you'll hear final thoughts from me. I'll have something to say once again about Alan Steinberg. He never, ever, folks, if there's a guy that always gives me ammunition, it's Alan Steinberg from Insider NJ. You definitely want to stick around for that. And of course, I also want to remind everybody that, a lot of haters in New Jersey, whether it be in media, activism, or wherever, always seem to have a lot to say about this program. And of course, my brand of award-winning journalism. But as you know, while everybody is spreading hate or talking about Real Talk, I'm just over here smiling and laughing and looking at my traffic on my smartphone every single week. I'm like, look at all these views. That's all I'm doing every single week, folks, as the haters keep looking on every single week. So more on them a little bit later, of course, and a lot to cover on this show. Of course, folks, sharing is caring. Click on that share button whenever you can and let everybody know that you're tuning in to Real Talk via Jersey First TV. We are having some technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we're supposed to have a double main event. As you can see there, my guest tentatively tonight is supposed to be the president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, Albertina Webb. We are having some technical difficulties, trying to see, obviously, we can still get her on. It's been a little crazy here, but just trying to get her on. As a matter of fact, I have her here and trying to just get her on here, hopefully. And it's sometimes, technical difficulties don't always cooperate, but it's good to obviously be able to communicate at a moment's notice. And as a matter of fact, we should be getting her on in moments. And obviously, hopefully, she'll be able to do that. Just communicating with her right now. And hopefully, she'll be on there in a matter of moments. And again, folks, sometimes technical difficulties happen, and hopefully she'll be on with us in moments here on the program. And folks, again, double main event tonight, as I alluded to. Certainly, we have two great guests on tonight. Again, sharing is caring, folks. Don't forget. Make sure you do that during the evening here, as we really, it's election season. There's a lot to talk about. Certainly, Hispanic Heritage Month has come to a close. I also have a lot to say about that during the end of the show as well. It seems that who's considered Hispanic or Latino, or how we sort of acknowledge them, I think is really important during this very important month that just passed by. Hopefully, my guest will be on in just a moment, and hopefully she will get on here as soon as possible. And link is sent. Hopefully she will be on us in just a moment, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, and certainly I'll talk about it later on in the broadcast, the annual breast cancer event to benefit the American Cancer Society will be coming to you from Lolita's in North Bergen along River Road on Thursday night, October the 26th, starting at 7 p.m. I'll talk more about that a little later on in the program. As I mentioned before, all proceeds will benefit the American Cancer Society and certainly the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer events that I do every single year. Hopefully we can get Albertina on here. Link was sent. Gotta check that email. It's all in there. So hopefully I will get her on, and Counselor and I are going to have a great conversation this evening here. Let's hope that all right, good stuff. All right, I think we see her now. Folks, join us live here, the first half of tonight's double main event. She is the distinguished president. I know she'll be outgoing shortly, but she is the president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, and I do welcome her on here tonight. She is the distinguished Albertina Webb. Join us here on Real Talk. Counselor, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hopefully this is working so that you can hear me. I didn't get the link initially. Most of the links that come to me sit in my spam, and I don't get spam until the end of the day to clear it out. So I did get this one. Thank you.
All right. Well, Counselor, I appreciate you joining us here. And once again, thank you for being on with us here. Folks, again, sharing is caring. Click that share button. My guest tonight in the first half of tonight's double main event is the outgoing president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, Albertina Webb. And folks, if you're curious about the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, check out all the great resources available to you by visiting www.njhba.org. Now, you may want to turn down that volume a little bit, Albertina, since you hear me in the background. Okay. In any event, folks, the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, folks, the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey is a all right, good stuff. All right. And it's a 501c6 state organization which represents the interests of attorneys, judges. If you have me on YouTube, you got to close that YouTube window.
I closed it already. I don't have you on anymore.
Okay. I'm not sure. What type of device are you on? Because I hear the echo there.
I'm on a home computer.
Okay, I'm not sure why there's an echo there. You might have to turn down the volume on your desktop there. Obviously, that's why you hear the echo there. Hopefully that's better. All right.
I don't hear an echo on my end, so I'll just mute myself while you're talking. I don't hear it.
No, that's okay. So, Counselor, it's good to have you on here. Certainly, it's a great organization, obviously comprised of really doing good work to represent attorneys in the interest of attorneys, judges, law professors, and law students in terms of resolving issues affecting the Hispanics within your community. Tell us a bit more about what got you involved with the Hispanic Bar.
So I have been involved with the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey since 2008. I worked at a law firm. I saw these young Hispanic girls working on putting a package of materials together, and I offered to help them.
Okay. Albertina, just a curiosity, because make sure you look at the lens on the computer. Don't look at the screen. Look at the lens. All right. You see the camera lens at the top? There you go. Awesome. There you go. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. You might want to. Perfect. Again, you got to turn down the volume on your computer. I hear the echo there. I'm in the background. All right.
I don't know what echo you have. I have the volume down to 40.
Okay.
It's actually down to 28.
Okay. All right. We'll do our best here. So, Counselor, let me sort of ask you this here. It seems like there is such a exponential increase every year of students applying to law schools. You know, obviously, having worked in academia myself, I see, so many my former students always asking for recommendations to law school, and I'm always very cautious. I'm like, listen, unless you're really dedicated to practicing a specific brand of law, I mean, it's a lot of debt to incur. Make sure you're committed to it. That's the advice I give all of my students when they're applying to law school. In your experience, again, as president of the HBA in New Jersey, you're interacting with students. What's been that like?
So we have several pipeline programs throughout with high schools, and we also mentor students at all of the colleges and law schools. So we go to Seton Hall and we go to Rutgers, Camden, Rutgers, New York. We don't tell people what areas they should practice. We want people and the students to be involved. We gave over $120,000 approximately this past year at my gala to law students. We also gave $4,000 to the pipeline students. We have a pipeline program at Passaic High School, Union City High School, where I am speaking with the students on Wednesday, and we have a program now down in Atlantic City. We want people to understand and to know, and that's our students, it's the community that we serve, that people of color can become lawyers, they can become judges. We help the students in the high school with their college applications. We help law students in terms of finding jobs, how to network and how to market themselves. And it really is just a great dialogue that we have with the students, and we get them involved. Like November 11th, we're going to be doing a sandwich drive at Seton Hall. We do a sandwich drive every year. We make sandwiches, we give them out, we bring them to various shelters throughout the state. Our installation is on November 1. We have pipeline students that come to the installation, and the incoming president will be Jackie Pena. And I'm looking forward to her taking over the reins. I become the immediate past president, but I will continue working behind the scenes.
Excellent. Albertina, again, don't forget the camera, the lens up top, because you keep looking at the screen. You gotta look at the lens up top on the camera. Okay? Appreciate it. Also, Counselor, if you can move a little bit more, you're cutting off the screen there. You gotta there you go, Counselor. There we go. All right. There you go, Counselor. There we go. Appreciate the effort there. Counselor, let me ask you this. Obviously, when you were studying undergrad and you were looking at what your options were, what was the epiphany ultimately to go to law school?
I worked at a law firm for a long time, and I had children. I was living in Brooklyn, and I said, I want to be something more than Anthony's wife and Anthony's mother and Lindsay's mother. And because I worked at a law firm for a long time, I said, hey, if these guys can do it, I can do it. And that's what I did. So I applied. I attended New York Law School. I went to school at night. Going to school at nighttime is very different than a day student. You get tired, right? So having a family and going to school, it is possible that it can be done, because I am the perfect example of what you can do if you put your mind to it and you just put in the work and the effort.
And you're certainly an example, without question, Albertina, when it comes to commitment to your studies. And again, just mentioning, you're going to school at night. I mean, I know that struggle. I did grad school at night, and as I finished my graduate degrees, I know that struggle. So I applaud you completely. And folks, if you're just joining us right now, it's 6:17 here on the East Coast. My guest tonight, right now, in tonight's first half of the double main event, is the distinguished outgoing president of the Hispanic Association of New Jersey, Albertina Webb, joined us here on the program. Again, sharing is caring. The share button. You're into Real Talk via Jersey. Albertina, let me ask you this, because I look at your story. Really I think so many people can relate to it. I think that certainly your path resonates with a lot of people in the Hispanic community. When you are going to high schools, as you mentioned, you'll be in my neighborhood in the city on Wednesday, and you go to other high schools and talk to students and future. Really, I mean, do you sort of emphasize the aspect about maybe at the time you were going to school, how difficult it was for women in general? What was that climate like again? Law school?
Well, being a person of color, sometimes people think that you are targeted, you are limited in your abilities, and that's just not true. I just tell people when we go to these high schools, when we go to programs, and we do events that we go into churches. We just had a program, a law day at Union City High School. And we explain to people, we want everyone to try their best. If people think that they cannot go through the process, we help explain the process to them. But we want to make sure that everyone has access to the law. Everyone has access to the same rights as every other person throughout the state of New Jersey. That's what's important for my organization, to make sure that we're reaching as many people to understand that their options are limitless.
Without a doubt. Albertina, what's your background? I know you mentioned obviously being a person of color. I am as well. What's your background?
I am Puerto Rican and Dutch.
That is a really interesting mix. So are you also fluent in Spanish?
Poorly. Okay. So when my parents were alive, I've communicated with them, and as I'm told, as a young child, I was very fluent in Spanish. And along the way, communication stopped, and I've been without parents for a long time, sadly.
Again, my condolences. Obviously, I can understand the situation. Let me ask you this, because I think that we're both Hispanic, so I think we can sort of, relay some humor off each other. Does it ever bother you? I think, whether it's with other Hispanics, right? Like we can be very tribal, right? Where it's like, well, are you really Hispanic? I mean, like, I'm fluent in Spanish. I speak it, write it, and everything. When others, let's say, are not as fluent or whatever, that causes, or is it just tribalism within our own community?
Not only is it a thing, because there was also an article recently, I believe in the New York Times, about if you don't speak Spanish, you can't call yourself Hispanic. But my children call me all sorts of names and say, Mom, we're going to make sure they take your presidency away because you're not fluent. So it's a nice joke. We laugh about it. I'm glad they get a kick out of it. I let them make fun of me. I don't think, and a lot of the article talked about, yes, that there are fractions of people that believe if you don't speak Spanish, you are not considered Hispanic. But they're also not using the term Hispanic anymore. I understand now it's Latinos, not Latinx. They're trying to get away from Latinx. I think every other day there's a new term or terminology that people are relying upon. I don't know. I call everybody Hispanics. I think it's much easier. I tell my board, we're all Hispanics. We don't need Latino, Latinas, Latinx. I didn't go for that Latinx when there was a big thing. We're all Latinos.
Mira, Albertina, I'm with you. And I'm not going to kind of put you on the spot here about where you lean politically, but if you know about my brand, I'm as conservative as it comes in New Jersey media. And eso se llama comer mermelada. I'm going to keep the show PG for everybody today. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of hate that identity politics nonsense about Latinx. Like, it's Latino and Latina. In our language, in our culture, gender roles are specific there, for God's sakes. The idea about who's trying to get shoved down our throat in our community, Albertina. I don't want to get too political with you, but it sickens people that are not even Hispanic are trying to shove this down our throats and make us sort of accept this nonsense. I'm not for it, Albertina.
Listen, I agree with you. My organization is not political at all.
Sure.
But it is, I can certainly take a position. I'm taking a position for myself, not on behalf of the Hispanic Bar Association.
Sure.
I'm an old lady. I tell myself all the time, I think it's just certain things I'm not going to walk down that road. People want me to walk down that road. And that's also part of the lesson. It's part of the message that we send to the people when we go into the community. You have to be yourself. We want to lift as we climb, and we want to have a lot of important past presidents. We have a lot of judges who were past presidents of the Hispanic Bar Association. I am looking forward to being included in the list of immediate past presidents, but I'm also looking forward to continue our message, to continue to raise money for the pipeline students and for the law students that we give out at our gala, usually in April or May of every year.
Albertina, let me ask you, let me pick your legal brain here. As an academic, obviously I'm not an attorney, more of a political scientist, social scientist, as they say. But I appear in a lot of different podcasts, not just hosting this one, but I'm just in many other ones in the state. And oftentimes I get asked questions to opine on when it comes to, I guess, the national political perspective. And when someone says to me, hey, Fernando, come presidential election season, there's always, well, I like the candidate to pick judges that coincide with what I believe in. And I really want to sort of pick your brain here because it's almost become it's also become tribal, I think, as well. Because when I think of the law, I think of the law. I think of what's written. I think of what's already down considered as case law. And when I think about judges being considered liberal or conservative or purist or constructive or activist. You're a practicing attorney. You've been in the business a really long time. Educate us a little bit here. I mean, obviously, I know you're, obviously, a little bit here. But what am I supposed to believe about how we should be picking judges?
Well, it's a good thing you asked me this question. I'm going to tell you, I was just on the New Jersey State Bar JPAC committee for 4 years. That's the Judicial Prosecutorial Committee. And I am the chair of my JPAC. So the Hispanic Bar Association also has a JPAC. There is a compact that we follow, and we select judges based on their qualifications. We don't really care what political party you're a part of. There's a set of criteria that is relied upon to determine whether or not this person is in fact qualified to serve as a judge. Qualification has not been defined by the governor's office with this compact, but I mean, we can say that minds think alike. What does qualified mean? Do they have a certain minimum years of practicing? That's a given. and trial experience. What have they done in terms of trial experience? Have there been complaints about them, filed complaints? Or do they have the skills? I mean, certainly if you're going to have a trial judge, you want somebody who's familiar with the rules of evidence, somebody who's familiar with the rules. We do follow a very thick rule book. And certainly it's not an impediment, but a lot of the judges go into family first. They cut their teeth, so to speak, on family. I'm a family law practitioner. I don't think that's necessarily the place somebody needs to go if they've never handled a divorce, if they've never handled a custody matter. Should you just throw them into family? But that's where most of them end up. But they do go to judge school as well. So there is some learning that they do go through. I think it is a hard and difficult process to make sure that we are getting qualified judges to come to the bench. Statewide, municipal judges, and federal judges. Every once in a blue moon, you get a rotten egg that goes, but that's just the same like everything else in human being and life in general.
Every occupation, that's fair to say, for sure, Counselor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6:27 on the East Coast. We're wrapping up in a little bit with the distinguished outgoing president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, Albertina Webb, here joining us. And we have the second half of our double main event coming up in just a few minutes at the bottom of the hour. So stick around for that, folks. Definitely busy here on Real Talk. Albertina, let me ask you this, because as a political scientist, as a commentator, as a pundit, people say, Fernando, political season, people pick your brain. And I'm not shy about it. Next year is a big presidential. We don't know that already. Let's leave it under a rock. Social media or watching a rock. Social media. My answer to people when they ask, "Hey, Fernando, how do you feel about voting?" My answer to people when they ask, "Hey, Fernando, how do you feel about voting?" It's just consistent. We say, "Hey, I love this 6-3 conservative majority in the Supreme Court. I like these court decisions I've seen for the last year and a half. Hey, I'm nervous about a particular party having the opportunity to maybe pick different judges or older justices on the Supreme Court that maybe might be retiring soon." That's an important issue for me. I like that 6-3 conservative majority. I like the Second Amendment decision. I like the Dobbs decision. I like the affirmative action decision. That's it for me. I like the affirmative action decision. Pundit, but as an attorney for you, I don't want you to. But as an attorney for you, I don't want you to. When you hear that sort of rhetoric from someone, I like as a conservative Supreme Court. That's the checks and balances between the legislative branch, the federal government, Congress, the executive branch, the president, Congress. Am I wrong to look at that at the judicial branch in that manner?
No, I don't think you're wrong. What I don't like to do is to go by titles. They're conservative, they're aggressive, whatever. We're fortunate here in New Jersey. Our Supreme Court has a nice diversity. We have Michael Noriega, who was a past member of the Hispanic Bar Association, who is now on the bench. Fabiana Pierre-Louis is an intelligent, bright person, young. And we're getting young. They've got young people, so they're going to be on the bench for a long time. I want somebody on that bench who's going to read the facts and apply the law to the facts. I want them to know the law. I want them to apply it. I want them to think outside the box. I don't want a cookie cutter person and say, everybody who has a blue sweater on the back of their chair, they eat rice and beans. Well, I don't know about everybody else eating rice and beans. I love eating rice and beans, but it's not for everyone. Sure. We don't want to be in a pigeonhole. I never want to be pigeonholed. I tell my children as they were growing up, when they had to fill out applications, check other. Make sure that you put, I don't want to be selected because they say they're going to feel bad for the little brown girl. She's Puerto Rican and Dutch. Who is she? Where does she come from? She's from Brooklyn. She's nobody. Pick her. I want people to pick me because I'm smart, because I'm qualified, because I speak my mind and I speak and I think outside of the box. I have 2 licenses, one in New York and one in New Jersey. I work very hard for that. But I want people to pick me because of that, not because they feel bad because, oh, she's Puerto Rican. We don't have a Puerto Rican over here, so let's give her a shot. It would be nice. That would be a nice reason too. But more importantly, it's because we are qualified. We are intelligent, we are hardworking, and we are hard thinkers.
Albertina, let me ask you this. I stand corrected then. All this time I've been referring to the majority in the Supreme Court in the incorrect manner. So what would you maybe advise me to say from now on when I'm talking about it on this show or when I appear in other podcasts? Because I've been going by the mantra, well, I like this majority and I like this conservative majority in the Supreme Court. So I stand corrected. How should I refer to them then? Because it's 6-3.
I'm not correcting you at all. They may very well be considered the conservative majority. I haven't seen great stuff coming out of them yet. I mean, I want them to think. I want them to give me the opinions that everybody else wants, right? Reversing Roe versus Wade is not pretty much to me, a very smart thing to do, but there you have it. It's actually something that people would even want to entertain. Nobody would ever thought that opinion would have came out or they would have sided the way that they did, especially something that's been a law and that's the way things have been for so many years. We're fortunate to be in New Jersey for that reason, for people who want to make decisions about their own bodies.
Sure. Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I've been one of the few journalists talking about this consistently since last summer. I'm like, listen, I mean, there's a reason why. And again, you're the attorney, so you can correct me anytime I'm wrong here. But one of the reasons I'm such a big 10th Amendment guy is because I believe in states' rights. And if states want to govern the way they want to govern, then that's on them. And again, my understanding of the Dobbs decision was they pretty much just relegated to the states. And if the states want, again, here in New Jersey, a woman's reproductive choice or freedom is fine. It's safe. It's codified into state law. Now, that may not be the case in Tennessee or Kentucky or somewhere else. Here in New Jersey, that's the case. And again, I think that's the essence of the 10th Amendment, states' rights. But when I say that out loud as an academic or as a commentator, Fernando, you know what you're talking about. You're just being partisan. I don't think I am. You know what you're talking about. You're just being partisan. I don't think I am.
Now, I think your position is right on the money on that. Again, yes, I believe that states should have the right. And again, it's just my opinion. It's not the Hispanic Bar Association opinion. The state should have the right to mandate, to set rules, to set parameters. They're taking taxes from us. Certainly, this is why people live where they live, and you're paying for these services anyway. There is also something just called basic human rights, though. To say that a woman's body is not something that a woman could dictate, could make a decision on her own, to me, that's a little far afield.
All right, no, fair enough. Folks, here, it's 6:34 here. We're about to wrap up shortly with the outgoing president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, the great Albertina Webb, here on the show. Again, click that share button. Sharing is caring here on Jersey First TV. So should I just say constructionist majority? Should I just say right-leaning majority? What's the right thing I should say from now on?
You say whatever you want because you can. You have a voice, you have a presence, and you have a following. Call it whatever you want to call it.
Well, I just want to be correct.
Does it have to be called a name?
Well, no, I just want to be correct in the sense of referencing how they're deciding cases, because that 6-3 majority seems to be deciding cases that, for example, many of my liberal friends from grad school that I still talk to vehemently, and some of them are attorneys, and vehemently disagree with the majority on the court. Again, in the last couple of years, with the Second Amendment case out of New York, with the Dobbs decision, the affirmative action, even the website designer chose not to create a website for LGBTQ couple, and that also was elevated. So I'm just trying to be as exact. And, again, I'm not trying to be over political here, but the right way to reference that majority that seems to be deciding case in a certain way.
I think as an attorney, most of this is semantics. Okay. What is liberal? Liberal can be defined so many ways, the same way as conservative can be defined in so many ways. Who we thought people were liberal 20 years ago, and I'm practicing 25, 26 years now. I feel like an old lady. But things that we did and we understood them years ago were very different. Would you have thought 20, 30 years ago we would have such technology that you're in your living room and I'm squished in my office that I'm trying to put together here as an office, that we would be able to communicate and talk to people outside of where we are? There are just things that have changed, and technology has changed things. But I think also people are trying to push the boundaries in terms of what we know and what we understand, how things are, how things should be or could be. So I'm not one to really stand on labels. I think it's very dangerous.
Well said, Counselor. Before I let you go here, I appreciate your time. I know you've had a very busy day. I appreciate you dedicating a few minutes here to Real Talk with Fernando Uribe on Jersey First TV. We've got to know Albertina, the president. But let's get to know Albertina, the woman. Let's get to know a few fun things. Favorite attorney.
Fun fact. I'll give you a fun fact. I'm a grandmother of 6 grandchildren.
Amazing. Felicidades on that one. That's an amazing accomplishment. Favorite dish.
Thank you. And I appreciate you inviting me. I know that we planned this for some time. This had been on the calendars, our calendars. You're crazy busy, which is nice. I was looking at some of your other Real Talk chats. So I know that you're busy as well. So I'm glad that we were finally able to connect, even with all of my technology issues.
No, not a problem. And I appreciate again you give me the time tonight, Albertina. Again, you have led an amazing career. You continue to impress so many people, obviously, in your accomplishments and what you continue to do in practicing law. And obviously, in your tenure as president of the Hispanic Bar Association, you're really leaving it in a great state, as they say, for the other legacy and the rest of the administration. Real quick here, back to law school, your favorite course and your least favorite course.
My favorite course probably had to be the Rules of Evidence course. My least favorite course, con law, because it was so difficult. It was long. Like I said, I went to school at night. I went to New York Law School. I worked at a firm at Wall Street. And when I was done being a legal secretary / paralegal, I'd walk down Broadway, get to Church Street, and then I'd hang out there for another 3-4 hours, get home 11:30 to do homework for my children and make lunch boxes. So you really don't have much of a choice to like or dislike. You just got to get through it.
Folks, she's an amazing grandma, an amazing mom, an amazing attorney, and just an amazing woman. Ladies and gentlemen, she's Albertina Webb, the president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey. Albertina, que Dios te bendiga. Keep up the great work. And I look forward to talking with you again here on Real Talk via Jersey First TV. You take care of yourself.
Fernando, thank you so very much.
Have a good one. God bless. And if I don't talk to you again by the end of the year, if I don't have you on again, have a happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Que lo pase bien. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Same to you.
Folks, great episode there with Albertina Webb. As a matter of fact, again, the outgoing president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey. Again, folks, some technical difficulties, they happen. But you know what? We make it work here on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe. Folks, it's 6:40 here on the East Coast. And I promised you an exciting double main event. And that's exactly what I'm bringing right now. Joining me at this time here, ladies and gentlemen, he is a candidate for the New Jersey State Senate in the 34th Legislative District. And he's a guy that I got to tell you, during this election season, a lot of people are talking about what races are interesting, what races are competitive, and quite frankly, do Republicans have a real chance to shave into that majority in the state assembly and the state senate? I got to tell you, folks, you know what? There's some interesting races, and I'll tell you, the 34th Legislative District is one of them. And joining me live right now, he is a candidate for the state senate. Folks, he's a good friend of mine and a fan of the show, apparently. Let's welcome in Joe Belnome here on Real Talk. Joe, how are you?
Technical difficulties. Hi, how are you?
Good to have you on here. You good there? Okay, just want to make sure you're good.
I don't know, like it's hard to see me. My light just went out. I was having problems. I don't know if you saw me backstage. I was in a bad Wi-Fi area, and I'm trying to get ready for you here. I'm happy to be here with you.
Well, it's great to be with you as well. How's everything going on the campaign trail?
I tell you what, I like the responses I'm getting for the people I'm speaking with. You know, a lot of people say that, you know, at least LD 34 or Essex County is very difficult for a Republican to win. I've even heard the phrase, your name needs to be Jesus Christ with an R next to it to win in Essex County.
Well,
but I think that's the wrong attitude. I've never seen a Republican actually campaign in Essex County in my town or in the local area. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to see if we can make a big difference and give people hope that Republicans can win on the right issues.
All right, and we'll get to them in a bit because I have some issues with the NJGOP, which I'm not shy about discussing. But we'll get to that in a moment. And folks, again, if you're not familiar with the 34th Legislative District, it is really a pretty large district in the sense of the towns in Essex County. It consists of the municipalities of Belleville, which, by the way, shout out to Mayor Michael Melham, who was a guest last week. Big fan of this show, as well as Steve Leon, a Belleville Board of Education trustee candidate last week. Not sure if you got to check out the show, Joe, but it was a good one with them for sure. Also included is Bloomfield, East Orange, Glenridge Township, Nutley, and Orange. I have to say, that's probably one of the most economically and socially diverse districts in the state. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that'd be a fair statement. You know, like my whole life, I've never really even been to some of those parts of the county, you know, but I've enjoyed going there now while I'm campaigning.
Well, again, listen, it's certainly a very competitive race, and you know, we're looking at some of the demographics here, which are interesting. Registration-wise, we're talking about a very, very heavy Democrat count district. Over 56% of registered voters are Democrats, only 9% are Republicans, and a very whopping 34% are independents. And Joe, I got to tell you, again, during this election season, and I've seen Bob Hugin, the chair of the Republican Party of New Jersey, on other shows. I've run into him at events. I mean, I think we have a very cordial relationship. I know he's not a fan of some things I say, but listen, I'm not looking for a job here with the NJGOP. I do very well in education. I do very well in media. I'm not looking for a job to be an operative, but Republicans seem to sometimes get in their own way. And to use a sports term here, I think that a lot of us can relate to, if you're all fans of the NFL like I am, it just seems like Republicans have some momentum. They have the wind to their back, and they see the goal line, and they either fumble the ball or get stopped at the 1 yard line. And it's frustrating because in a state like New Jersey, where we know what, again, let me not paint with a broad brush, because where I live in LD 33, okay, my mayor is also my state senator, but Brian Stack is a reasonable center-left Democrat. Brian Stack is a reasonable legislator. He doesn't subscribe to a lot of the woke nonsense that I would argue the state senator in LD 34 subscribes to, or some of the far left in Trenton, whether it be Nick Scutari, the Senate president, whether it be, the emperor, Governor Murphy, who time and time again is just reminding us that he is so desperate to make New Jersey the California of the East. That terrifies me, Joe.
Yeah, I've used that term as well, as they're trying to make us like the California 2.0. And as you said, well, we've been redistricted, so we don't have a sitting senator. But my opponent, I would characterize as a radical left extremist, as far as sponsoring a bill to keep sexually graphic books in our libraries and threatening to take the funding away from the library if they did remove those books. And just recently I've noticed, I saw Black Lives Matter is basically endorsing Hamas or whatever after the terrorist attacks. And my opponent in the past has sponsored a bill to make a Black Lives Matter day, like on October 13th. So, that's what I'm up against.
Well, I've tried reaching her office. I'm like, hey, I hear you want to have a buy large mansions day. And when I talked to one of the staffers, they're like, I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm like, yeah, isn't that what BLM stands for? Buy large mansions? Because they're not doing anything else for Black people.
Right.
But certainly, Joe, I mean, one of the things that I think that is interesting during this election cycle is, back in 2021, Republicans, struck some oil. They were able to send 7 new legislators to Trenton. They pulled off one of the biggest upsets in my adult life in political history with Ed Durr unseating then Senate President Steve Sweeney. Without a doubt, Republicans, I think, have a lot of momentum this year with a lot of the culture war issues. I think a lot of the parental rights discussions. I'm supposed to speak at an event this Saturday concerning parental rights in Trenton. Listen, we know what the far left does poorly in Trenton. Okay, they've never met a tax that they don't like. Okay, and again, I'm not painting with a broad brush. There are some reasonable Democrats in Trenton. The problem is it's the unreasonable ones, the far left ones, that are manipulating the budget. I mean, the budget is getting fatter and rounder than some of the Victoria's Secret models that now they're auditioning out there. Okay, I mean, giving licenses to illegals. The idea that, oh, you know what, for whatever reason, let's remind people that, oh, we failed high school biology, and now we can't even identify how many genders there are. Or do we think that 5-year-olds are at a good age to learn about nonsense like just gender identity? It's crazy to me, Joe, that more and more media in New Jersey, again, and this is the disservice that the liberal media does in this state, right? I talk about it all the time. NJ Spotlight News, Insider NJ, the Star Ledger, NorthJersey.com, the New Jersey Monitor. I mean, it's just like, call out what the far left Democrats are doing wrong in this cycle, and they're just really carrying buckets of water for them.
Well, it's like you said, we have the wind to our backs, and the media is just doing a favor to the Democrats right now by ignoring this election cycle. They're not talking about it. I remember going to the Republican retreat right before Labor Day, and they're telling us, okay, right after the holiday, you're going to start getting the media out there talking about the election and this and that, and you make sure you're bringing up parental rights. That's a big issue this year, and this and that. And it's like, where are they? It's people like you, Fernando, that's actually talking about this and educating the voters. And it's funny what you said as far as 2021. We had some successes. Meanwhile, 38% of Republicans came out to vote. That's why it's all about getting people out to vote. And it's going to be the mama bears and the papa bears that are going to be the voters this year. When it comes down to parental rights, it's the parents that we're hoping to get out. And every time I'm talking to people, even in my opponent's backyard of East Orange, I love the people of East Orange. I tell you what, I'm hanging out at the shop right over there. They're like, Jersey Joe is here again, and I'm talking to everybody, and I'm talking like, I don't know if I can curse on here, but the problem with our GOP, it's like they don't have the balls to say some things. I'm like, come out and vote. Let's keep boys out of girls' bathrooms. Let's stop the sexualization of our children in our schools and libraries. They're trying to castrate, sexually mutilate, change genders of children. They're asking kids 5 years old, what's your pronoun and what's your gender? They don't even know what that means. So why do you even have to describe something like that to someone that young? Tomorrow in Montclair, they're having some kind of drag queen teen show or something. It's like 14 years old to 18. Why are we exposing children to this filth, the sexualization? Yeah. And that's what it's for the children.
I'm with you. Listen, why don't these drag queen story times go to senior homes and read to seniors, or why don't you go to jails and read to inmates? If what you're doing is so innocent and what you're doing is so virtuous and wholesome, please go to every county jail and volunteer to read to inmates. Again, if you're not doing anything wrong,
right,
and you feel that
make us, right, it's like they're trying to call us a bigot for saying something. We never cared about drag queens. This is not about the gay community. This is about children. We don't need to be exposing children to this. That's when it became an issue.
Listen, Joe, I'm with you. And again, I'm the only journalist in New Jersey that's actually taking up this cause, because while others are just too busy smoking weed every day or eating their next sandwich or whatever the case may be, it just seems like I have to be doing I'm the adult in the room. I'm the only one doing their job. And it's frustrating. But let me say this, because again, getting back to the NJGOP, And what bothers me is that in a year where, listen, where I live in LD 33, it's as solidly blue as Windex. So is 31 and 32 respectively. But a district like yours, 36 and 38, which, by the way, I've interviewed all those candidates, okay, in those districts. I've also been talking to people in Central and South Jersey. This is a year where between 2023 and 2025, okay, again, folks, as a reminder, in the state Senate, it's 25-15 in the state Senate majority. In the state assembly, it's 46-24. Republicans have made some gains, but this is a year, whether it's LD4, a race that I'm watching, I think LD11, LD34, LD36, and LD38, Republicans have a real chance to flip those seats. My biggest concern, Joe, and again, I know you're going to be a gentleman about it. My concern is the NJGOP doing enough to help candidates like you that are really behind the eight ball? And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful, so don't take it that way, but are you getting the help you think you need from the NJGOP?
Well, it's first it started, it's been a rough start because one, I was supposed to be a candidate for General Assembly. You know, they were looking for candidates, and this is a big issue I've had in every election cycle. You have the ballot, and you're like, who are these people? You know, when was the last time you knew who the candidate was on the ballot as far as the Republican? You know, that was one of my biggest complaints. So I saw an opportunity, General Assembly, they needed a candidate. It's like, okay, I'll do this. You know, it was never my biggest dream to be in the New Jersey legislature, but whatever. I think I could do this. And at the last minute, the Sunday night before the Monday that the paperwork had to be submitted, I get a phone call saying, "So I'm sorry, we're going to go with somebody else." Meanwhile, they're not giving me a chance to get my own petition signed. Mm-hmm. And, I was sabotaged. I don't know what it was. I don't know who said it or who did it. My county chair was fine with me being on the ballot, as far as I knew. So that's when I had to make a decision. I got the sample ballot in the mail, and I saw they put someone else on the ballot, which, by the way, is a person that's not campaigning and has no interest even being in the legislature. They left state Senate blank on the leader of our ticket. They left blank. So that's a failure in the NJGOP. So we needed a full ticket. So I had to make that decision, and I campaigned to do the write-in. So I won that write-in campaign. So
have you spoken with State Chairman Bob Hugan about this? It just seems like somebody dropped the ball somewhere at the state office, and no one's really being held accountable for it.
Listen, let's get past this election. I have to work with people. Sure. It's yet to be seen with going back to your question, if I'm getting the help I need. I think people are seeing that I'm making an effort. I'm really trying to do this. I'm not trying to step on toes. I want to work with people, and that needs to be respected. So I'm being promised certain things. Like I have access to the NJGOP data center. I have the app that the GOP offers. So I'm having access to those things, which are helpful. We are supposed to have a mailer that's been promised to me, and some digital ads as well. Those have not run yet. So maybe we have to come back to this question by election day. So that's where we stand right now.
Listen, this is not even a prediction. This is a spoiler for everybody at home. I hope to see some districts flipping red. And if it doesn't, listen, I'm just going to be honest right now. The NJGOP is going to hear my mouth the following Monday after Election Day. And if they drop the ball again, because I say this all the time, and you brought up a great number. In 2021, only 38% of registered Republicans came out to vote. And that, I think, was a sad indictment of the tribalism that Republicans had statewide. Listen, I like Jack Chiarelli as a person. Okay? Every time we run into each other at the League of Municipalities, at events, he's a gentleman. He'll shake my hand. He'll speak with me. I like Jack the person. But Jack ran a poor campaign. He wasn't aggressive enough in going after the emperor on the fact that the emperor, now we know because the report is out that the emperor killed people, that his decisions contribute to the deaths of veterans. So essentially, Phil Murphy is responsible for murdering people. I don't care how that sounds to people. That's the truth. That's not Fernando Uribe being bombastic. That's Fernando Uribe telling you the truth. Secondly, closing down businesses, hurting the economy. Okay, it's okay to be home. I can't go to church. I can't go to the viewing of my grandmother who passed in May of 2020. But when the emperor wants to march with Black Lives Matter in Hillside because they're glorifying a career criminal, which is what George Floyd was, a career criminal, folks. Okay, that's okay. Jack didn't go after the emperor hard enough. And I was the only one that called that race close. Jack should have won that. But shame on Republicans that if 10% more Republicans came out, Jack would have won that election. I'm afraid that in a year where turnout isn't always great, Republicans are going to sit on their ass instead of going to the polls, whether it's early voting, vote by mail, or on election day. If Republicans don't win some seats here, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to cook Bob Hugin. I'm going to cook the Republican Party like a pernil during Christmas dinner, Joe. I'm telling you right now.
Listen, let's give Jack some slack. I like Jack as well.
I do.
There's listen, I'm a Trumper, and some people are like, oh, why, he's not supporting Trump, or, it's like, you got to know your audience. And what I've noticed being on the campaign trail, this has got nothing to do with Trump. It's like, maybe I thought I would talk like more like, oh, America first, whatever it is. It's like, you got to listen to the people. Maybe a lot of things I say is the same things that Trump says, but let's just leave him out of the equation.
Sure.
You would still support him 100%. I think Jack did great, and I think he's our best shot in the next election as well, when the emperor will be gone.
Thank God.
So yeah,
thank God, thank the Lord.
I would love to be in that legislature to support Jack. So I'm behind him 100%. I think that maybe in the Ocean County area, there's some people that stayed home. If that was the area, I don't know. I have to look at the analysis of that. But listen, he got a lot of people out, and a lot of them stayed home. It was so close, and we have more registered Democrats in this state, so we got to cut him some slack on that. Like he could have won that.
No, listen, I'm with you. I just think it's just disappointing because I think Republicans stayed home. Again, 38%. If just at least 50% of registered came out to vote, we're talking about a different administration in Trenton. Speaking of Trenton, should you be successful coming up on November 7th, Joe, what do you want to focus on in the 34th legislative district? What do you think right now is lacking in that district?
Well, the district and overall, listen, like I said, I got in this for kids. Any kind of legislation, like let's keep boys out of girls' bathrooms. Let's stop having drag queens reading to children. I'd like to ban gender affirming care up until the age of 25. This is a lifelong consequences and on health to these children. They don't know what's going on. I believe in equality, not equity in what they're teaching in the schools. And let's go about, with the board. I want to get rid of sanctuary cities. We see what's going on with the border. I'm against lockdowns. I'm against vaccine mandates. What else? That's what I'm looking at right now on the general scale.
Joe, do you see infrastructure as an issue in that district? I mean, I'm looking at some of these towns here, and I mean, they're close to 280. I know that's more of a statewide highway and a federal highway too. Do you see infrastructure, senior services? What else?
There's someone's office I'm going to visit, because on Main Street in Belleville, it's like pulling teeth trying to get the fence along this Route 21 there. And I'm sure things like that are going on all over the district. It's not something I've been hearing people complain about, but obviously it's, if you bring it up or whatever, like, oh yeah, you're right about that. But that is something that's always bothered me. And I'm like, man, if I get in a legislature, that's something I want to have a say in and talk to these people.
Again, it's only a few weeks away, really. It's actually 2 weeks away from tomorrow as election day. What's it been like going door to door? I know you mentioned going to the ShopRite in East Orange, going to other parts of the district. I mean, they're very different, again, along economic and social lines. What's been the response? Knocking on doors, going to food festivals during the summer, not during the fall months. I mean, obviously door to doors, phone banking. What's been the reaction like? What's been some of the best feedback you've gotten? And maybe what's been some of the negative one?
Listen, we'll start with the negative. Like I said, when I'm not shy to say, hey, my name's Joe, running for state Senate, come out and vote for me. let's keep boys out of girls' bathrooms. Let's stop sexualizing children. You got about 3 seconds. Now I'm talking about at the supermarket. You got about 3 seconds to say something to someone and take your card and see where they are. Now, either I get oh, hell yeah, wait, yeah, give me that. Because sometimes they're walking by you and then they come back. They double take, they come back like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like this guy's serious, But then now on the negative, it's like, oh, you're one of those, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, I'm one of those. I'm someone who feels uncomfortable when someone of the opposite sex comes into the bathroom with me. She's like, they have stalls in the bathroom. That was the excuse. So I guess we should have unisex bathrooms that have stalls that anyone could go in, I guess. I don't know. It's not making any sense.
I'm with you. Folks, it's 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. We're about to wrap up shortly here with my guest right now. The second half of tonight's double main event. He is a candidate for state senate in the 34th legislative district, known as Jersey Joe. He's Joe Belnome, joins us here on Real Talk. Joe, one of the things that this election cycle, I think, has really proven is really the importance about getting that message out. And I think we've learned from either 2021 and in 2022, vote by mail isn't going anywhere. And I think that, and also early voting isn't going anywhere either. Do you feel your campaign and let's say other candidates you've talked to on the Republican side are doing the best they can to really get that message out? Again, it's VBM isn't going anywhere. I think you should use it to your advantage, just like early voting. Do you see yourself doing that with 2 weeks to go?
It's probably been a weak point in my campaign. I'm not going to lie. I'm just really focusing. I have my truck is decked out. I got a campaign truck. I'm just trying to reach as many people as I can. Like I said, at the supermarkets and, the door to doors, and I have the phone bank going with the NJGOP. I do have some people. I just don't have the manpower and the put together. It's so as far as the vote by mails, we're going to have to see. But one good thing is, or one bad thing is, there's really no polling. It's really hard to say where I'm at in this election. But like I said, I've never seen any Republican campaign in this district, in this area. I mean, listen, you're saying it's not going anywhere and we're supposed to take advantage of it. Maybe if we do, maybe you're right. Maybe if we win with that a few times, then the Democrats will want to sit down and it's like, okay, maybe we'll make some changes. I really hate it. I love voting on election day.
Sure.
I like having results that day. And but I understand that we need to accept it more or whatever right now, but my campaign has been weak in that issue, so I probably haven't taken full advantage of that.
No, listen, fair enough to say, and I appreciate your transparency. And again, the reason I ask is because giving people the ability to vote, let's say early voting over the weekends. I mean, listen, if it was up to me, I'd make election day a federal holiday. I mean, I think you eliminate half the battle of people having to decide, do I go to work? And maybe I can get home in time to vote, or maybe I can go on Saturday or Sunday. And I understand that is ripe also for a lot of chicanery and shadiness. And I understand that. So I'm not oblivious or naive to it. But I think giving people options to vote, I think, isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'll go one further. I'd love to see voter ID in New Jersey. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever that you shouldn't be able to, again, if you're an election commission, to require people to have an ID to vote. I just find it funny that people think it's racist or this or that. Again, folks, newsflash, look online. Don't believe me if you don't want to. You can look online. When you go to the NBC website, even if you don't drive an automobile, let's just say you want a state-issued ID, okay? It will run you somewhere between $10 to $12 every 4 years. If you can't find a way to afford $10 in 4 years, folks, okay, race and voting is the least of your worries, okay? Right. But I think IDs are important, Joe. I think we want some transparency. I like the concept of honesty in our elections. That's not a bad thing. That's not racist. That's not bigoted. I hate when the left tries to weaponize this as it's somehow racist to ask for ID. I get it that voting is a fundamental right, but guess what? While other things are privileges, you can't really do anything else in New Jersey without an ID. You can't buy liquor. You can't go board an airplane to travel. You can't go buy whatever. Again, I understand people want to be semantics. You need an ID for everything. Voting, I think, is no different, Joe.
Once they make sure every illegal alien has an ID, maybe they'll agree with us on that.
Oh, please. Are you kidding me? Whether it's the emperor or all these Mickey Mouse activists that coddle illegals, it's sickening. It really is. Joe, before I let you go here real quick, I want to give you the opportunity to share any links, any social media handles for our audience to learn more about your campaign as Election Day draws near.
Yeah, sure. So My main campaign website is votejerseyjoe.com. And you can also just find me on Facebook. It's Joseph Belnome on Facebook, and Joseph Belnome for Senate. There's a fan page, I guess, a campaign page as well. Yep.
Well, Joe, listen, I'm pulling for you, and should you win on November 7th, I kind of want a commitment from you here. I kind of want you on the show regularly. Can we agree to that?
Hell yeah, sure. I'm going to be surprised if I don't win at this point. I'm going to be surprising a lot of people. I'm telling you.
I get the same feeling too, folks. November 7th, you have options. Here's a good one in the 34th legislative district. Joe Belnome, he's our state senate candidate there in the 34th
Line A in Essex County.
That's right. And folks, you have choices. Joe Belnome is a great candidate. You should definitely check him out. And I'm pulling for you, Joe. I'd love to see the state senate assembly turn as red as the logo of this show. So I appreciate you coming on here. Real quick, just we got to know Joe, the candidate. Let's get to know Joe, the guy, real quick here. Baseball, Yankees or Mets?
Yankees. I'm not really big into sports, though.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, same here. I'm a big sports fan, but also political junkie as well. Any favoritism in NFL, Giants or Jets?
Giants.
Okay, fair enough. Hockey, Devils, Rangers, or Islanders?
Devils.
All right, good man. I love it. Red wine or
I saw you in that jersey. Go ahead.
There you go. Red wine or white wine?
Red.
Okay. Favorite cuisine?
Italian pasta. You know
All
what?
right.
Bolognese.
Okay. Favorite American president?
Trump.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
All right. May the force be with you. That's a good one.
Yes.
Folks, he is Joe Belnome, the state senate candidate in the 34th legislative district. Folks, you have options. He's the best one coming up on election day, November the 7th. Get out early and vote, folks. We're hoping to see a red legislature on January 1st, 2024. Joe, we're pulling for you. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a fan of Real Talk with Jersey First TV.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Folks, great episode tonight here. Great double main event there. Obviously, the top of the hour with the distinguished president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, Albertina Webb, and the second half of the double main event. He is a state senate candidate in the 34th legislative district. Joe Belnome, obviously joining us tonight, folks. Certainly a lot to cover in this election season. We got double main events, even a triple main event coming up this month as election day draws near, coming up on November the 7th. Folks, a lot to still cover on the program. You know what time it is. It's time for final thoughts. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is election season. And when it is election season, you can always rely on comedy from a lot of our liberal legacy media. A nice word I like to use from a big fan of the show. And as a matter of fact, he'll be a guest on after Election Day, David Wallstein, the editor of the New Jersey Globe. But you know what? When it comes to comedy during election season, ladies and gentlemen, you can always rely on Alan Steinberg. And I got to tell you, his latest piece here. Oh my God, folks, you know what? I try to keep my composure here on this show. But when you read the nonsense coming out of Alan Steinberg and a lot of the other columnists at Insider NJ, you have to laugh because they don't even try to hide their liberal bias. They don't even try it anymore. They're just like, yes, we're openly leaning left as a news site, and we're openly leaning for coddling illegals, for, I don't know, not even advocating for parental rights, for letting the budget get fatter than the latest Victoria's Secret models. None of that accountability matters over there at Insider NJ. But during this election season, when we have the highest property taxes in the country, when again the state budget is getting fatter than a lot of these, social media influencers, okay, when we're again coddling illegals, when we're not worrying about wildlife that's dying on the shores of our beaches. Sleepy Owl, it's 7:11, so he's not awake now watching this, and he's way past his bedtime. But Sleepy Al, again, wants to insult our intelligence during this election cycle, talking about that somehow abortion is a political sacrament during this election season. So I'm going to read you some of the nonsense here. So in June 2022, in Dobbs versus Jackson, the U.S. Supreme Court overruled the 1973 landmark Roe versus Wade decision and held that the United States Constitution does not confer a right to abortion, which when you read the decision, and it's funny because, Al loves to read, right? Well, when it suits him, right? That's the right decision. Effectively, Dobbs returned to individual states the power to regulate any aspect of abortion not protected by federal law. Again, folks, the 10th Amendment. And somewhere when Ali went to law school many decades ago, I would think that Sleepy Al would have been awake during constitutional law class. And he would have remembered what the 10th Amendment represents. So the justices were right for that. Now, having said that, I am tired of the hysteria that groups like Planned Parenthood and all these other insufferable feminists and all these cat ladies that stink. I can smell the cat piss all the way over here, okay? That keep bitching and moaning about reproductive choice. It's been codified into state law, okay? So let me preface this by saying, okay, for all you ladies out there, okay, it's the NFL, right? So maybe you're out Thursday night drinking, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday fun day, no doubt. And you're waking up Monday morning next to some guy you picked up for the 5th consecutive Sunday fun day, and you don't like waking up next to him. Guess what? You can go to your Walgreens or your local CVS and you can buy what's called a Plan B, right? It'll cost you about $40, $45. I know, I've had to purchase them. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So you can, take a pill and forget about your drunken escapades over the weekend. Okay? No one's limiting your body. Okay? If you get knocked up tomorrow, ladies, here in New Jersey, you have the option to go seek the means to terminate that pregnancy. No one's taking that away from you. So the idea that organizations like Planned Parenthood are blatantly lying to you by saying, oh my God, abortion is being... No, it's not. Okay? And for everybody here in New Jersey that's bitching and moaning, let me just give you a reality check. Okay? You live in New Jersey. Again, codified into state law. Okay? You don't live in Tennessee. You don't live in Missouri. You don't live in Texas. You don't live in Georgia. Okay? Whatever's happening down there, oh well, you don't live there. Okay? You live here. So bitching and moaning, if you care so much about what happens in Missouri and in Tennessee and Kentucky, move there. All these insufferable women, right? Like, I don't know, that either are the heads of groups like Women for Progress, right? Or Planned Parenthood, or Make the Road New Jersey, or the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice. All you insufferable women, take a hike and go down to those states. Catch a flight, okay? I'll send you some coupon codes, some promo codes on email, so you can catch a flight down there and go pick it down there. You're bitching and moaning in New Jersey for what? It's like the typical Latina. Dicky, 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 dicky. Like, you live to bitch and you bitch to live. There's nothing to worry about here. But Ali likes to fuel the flames and wants to coddle you by telling you that somehow abortion's on the ballot this November. More on Ali now in a moment. In the 2023 campaign for control of the New Jersey Senate and Assembly, the Democratic television commercials focus exclusively on one issue, abortion choice, which is blatantly dishonest. Because again, Al, if you were conscious, you would know it's codified into state law. The message is intended to frighten New Jersey voters, particularly suburban college-educated women, into believing that control of the legislature by the Republicans will mean that the end of a woman's right to choose abortion as a matter of reproductive freedom. The scare tactic is highly likely to fail. Thank God at least Al is, intellectually honest on that for once, because, a clock is right twice a day too. All right? Talking about polling. All right? So, of course, he wants to talk about the vulnerabilities and this and that about what's really at stake here during this election cycle. And, folks, again, this is where the legacy media, the liberal media in New Jersey continues to do a disservice. On the ballot this November is really about property taxes, spending, and parental rights. Okay? The idea that and I understand that the pronoun patrol and the alphabet mob is all getting flustered about, people that are advocating for parental rights are bigots. No, they're not. They're taxpayers. Because, folks, newsflash, your property taxes pay for school budgets. They pay for school districts. So if parents feel the need to go to school district and board meetings and complain about curriculum that their kids are being exposed to, they have every right to. Okay? This idea that we're seeing organizations and journalists, really they're propagandists, let's be honest, masquerading as journalists. Okay? Parents have every right to object about what's going on in schools. Their tax dollars pay for them. You would never think that would come out of Ali's mouth, or he would advocate for that. He's too busy advocating for his garbage Brooklyn Nets, or his garbage Philadelphia Eagles, or his garbage New York Mets. When it comes to real issues, Ali, it's only journalists like myself and Matt Rooney that are talking about this. And Ryan McDonald, okay? Real journalists and commentators that are talking about issues that affect everyday people. I get it. You're 96 years old. You have 30 pensions or something that you've accumulated from fulfilling multiple jobs, whether it be at the federal level or the state level. I get all that. So you're living comfortable in Highland Park. What do you care about what regular working class people have to face in New Jersey? You're sitting pretty there, going to operas, probably falling asleep in the first 5 minutes, let's be honest. Okay? Real issues that matter to everyday New Jerseyans, Al, you're not interested in talking about. You're just not. Anyone who reads you can deduce that right away. And here's just another blatant example. And of course, I know everything going on in Israel and Gaza, and I'm sure you're going to opine about it because everything is, I get it, you're a proud Jewish guy and yada, yada, yada. Great, whatever. I mean, that's something that's important to you. God bless you. That's not something I'm really reading about. I'm going about my day. Okay? But when it comes during this election cycle, you would think that Alan Steinberg, again, the illustrious Alan Steinberg, right, who cares so much about working class people and cares about the little people that he finds it he doesn't waste an opportunity to ever demonize Republicans or conservatives because we don't have the people's best intentions at heart. No, well, neither do you, Al. And it's perfectly clear for anyone who reads your columns. You need to shape up, man. I get it. You're 96 years old. You're going to be 97 soon, whatever the case may be. Bro, in what little time you have left, do us all a favor. At least be a little bit more conscious about what's affecting everyday people. Seems to be the case. You're not interested in that. And quite frankly, that's why many people aren't interested in you. Folks, before we call it a night here on the program, obviously, I do want to, thank you all for joining us here, a double main event here on the program. Folks, as you can see, I'm rocking that pink here. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I do want to, of course, thank you all for always supporting my commitment to the American Cancer Society every single October during this very important month. Again, as I'm proud to partner with the American Cancer Society, who for over 100 years has been working with families all across the state and all across this country to help overcome all the complexities and challenges that breast cancer bring millions of women and men every single year. As a reminder, don't forget, coming up on Thursday night, October the 26th, at the world-famous Lolita's in North Bergen, New Jersey, right on River Road. Folks, you can check out the 2023 edition of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. Again, the only real good party that night. Don't worry about other parties, folks. They're not going to be anywhere near the success that A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts will be coming up on Thursday night, October the 26th, starting at 7 p.m. It is a privilege this year to be joined by my amazing co-hosts, the beautiful Christina Kostovsky, the absolutely stunning Sandra Ramirez, the absolutely beautiful Courtney Gilroy, and certainly one of the hardest working men I know, Vladimir Carrero. As together, we'll greet you upon arriving, folks, at Lolita's. We'll have happy hour specials all night long, as well as raffle prizes. A suggested donation of $20 at the door is what we ask. Again, all proceeds during the evening will benefit the American Cancer Society and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. So, folks, again, next Thursday night, it'll be here before you know it. Seems like the weather's holding up during the week. I anticipate that to be the same on Thursday night, October the 26th, for the 2023 edition of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. Once again, to benefit the American Cancer Society and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer during the month here as we celebrate and raise awareness for breast cancer during the month of October. Folks, before I call it a night, I almost feel like for a lot of haters out there, I think you need the reminder because it seems to me that there's a lot of vitriol and hate directed at Fernando. It's more jealousy than anything, right? Because while you have little, Mickey Mouse journalists and your little Mickey Mouse activists with your Mickey Mouse, see, folks, the difference is, folks, when you look at that back there, okay, and you can scroll in, it's on my social media, okay? This is what's called real traffic, okay? The traffic that some people in New Jersey know, that's the traffic on Kennedy Boulevard or Route 21 or Route 3 or Route 17 or the New Jersey Turnpike or the Atlantic City Expressway, which I'll be traveling on to go to the League of Municipalities next month, by the way, or the Garden State Parkway. See, for a lot of journalists really that are propagandists and they're just masquerading as journalists, or Mickey Mouse activists, okay, or Mickey Mouse pundits, that's the only traffic you know. Here on this show, folks, that's real traffic, okay? That's real traffic. You got to know the difference, folks, okay? Mickey Mouse traffic for Mickey Mouse people, real traffic for real talk. We're not the same. And of course, when I think about that, and I think about here because, folks, every single week, I'm just looking at my phone. I'm looking at my computer. I'm looking at my MacBook. And when I see, oh, by the way, what traffic am I looking at here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it goes without saying. Here on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe, what can I say? It's greatness every single Monday night, folks, on the replays. And by the way, I'm deeply humbled by all of your support. I'm deeply humbled by the fact that all of you tune in every week, whether it's live on Monday nights or you share the replays on Facebook, on YouTube, on your Instagram, on your Twitter, okay, on your TikToks, all right, on your Snapchats. I appreciate that. I'm deeply humbled by your support. And I'm not the most humble guy around, but ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to be humble when you have traffic like this. So, of course, when I see people on social media making comments about Fernando Uribe, I'm just sitting there like, I'm just laughing because here I am looking at you, all the haters, really trying to do something productive with your time. And really, instead of hating, keep tuning in because I know you can't help yourselves. Folks, before I call it a night here, I want to quote one of my favorite professional wrestlers. As you know, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I want to quote MJF, otherwise known as Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Quite frankly, the only Friedman I can really tolerate because at least, when I look at Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and it's, when I see him on TV regularly, it's nice to see, this Friedman, look presentable, not like he just woke up out of bed, his hair all out of place, not knowing what it's like to groom a beard. It's nice to look at least a Friedman that looks presentable on television. But to quote again, as we finish up Hispanic Heritage Month, and really one of the few Hispanics and Latinos doing, worthwhile journalism, right? Here on Jersey First TV. And of course, during Hispanic Heritage Month, we obviously have some, let's be fair, folks, some fake ass Latinos and Hispanics and Latinas that don't speak a lick of Spanish, but somehow you're Latino and Latina. Folks, really? Can't speak a lick of Spanish and who they are in media. We all know. Former legislators, government employees, activists. We all know who you are. Okay? We all know. Okay? But because I'm fluent in Spanish, I read it, write it, and speak it. What I'm going to do as we close out Hispanic Heritage Month, folks, very simply, I'm going to quote MJF because he has a wonderful phrase. But I'm going to change it up a little bit to fit what we do on this show. Very simply, my name is Fernando Uribe, and I'm better than you, and you know it. Yo me llamo Fernando Uribe, y yo soy mejor que tú, y tú lo sabes. Folks, I can cook you in 2 languages, while many of you can barely cook me in 1. That's the way it works on this show every single week. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our broadcast for tonight. Once again, I want to thank our amazing guests, the president of the Hispanic Bar Association of New Jersey, Albertina, Webb, and also state Senate candidate in LD 34, Joe Belnome, join us here tonight. Folks, always check us out on all of our social media. Make sure you like us on Facebook, of course, Real Talk with Fernando Uribe and Jersey First TV, as well as make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget, wherever you get your podcasts, download it on Spotify or SoundCloud, and take Jersey First TV with you wherever you go during the fall season as we approach Election Day coming up next month. And folks, we'll keep talking about all the issues that matter to you here on Jersey First TV. I can't say enough how proud I am to be a part of the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, folks. It's Jersey First TV. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Brand new episodes of the Nader Narrative hosted by the incredible Elizabeth Nader, premiere every Thursday, and brand new episodes of Bridging the Gap, hosted by AJ Malillo and Stephen Rambolo, premiere every Thursday. And of course, brand new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe, premiere every Monday night, whether 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Check social media listings, and you'll find out broadcast times live on Monday nights. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Real Talk right here with Jersey First TV. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top 50 Latino as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine and also the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, as well as being the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State Media. Folks, the traffic will tell you every single week. The people's choice and the people's voice. And of course, when you look at this every single week, the most handsome face that runs the place. It is me, Fernando Uribe. Folks, have a great rest of your week. Please party responsibly. Always remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. We'll see you next time here on Real Talk via Jersey First TV. And thanks for stopping by.